Well, we're glad to have you. Just before we get started, I've got, just so everybody knows, I've got Jim Phillips as our other board member. He is on speakerphone. This is the first meeting to listen in. He won't be participating, but I'm listening. So if anybody wants to make fun, maybe wait till after the meeting. All right, we'll call the meeting to order and pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
I'll just get us started tonight as acting vice president since Tom's no longer with us. And speaking of that, welcome to Dennis Wynn and Jim Phillips, our new board members joining us for this year. Let me see that. We have, you guys review the minutes for our December 10th meeting. Get that out of the way. Dennis will be abstaining, so need a motion from Todd or Jill on the minutes.
Move to approve the minutes of December 10th, 2018.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Election of 2019 officers. Start with the nominations for president. A nomination for Jill. Any other nominations? Do we have a second? I will second that. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Jill, I should have asked you before we voted. Are you good with that?
Thank you.
Good, because we voted.
Thank you.
Jill, I'm going to let you take over at this point.
Hear us? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, then the next officer to be elected will be Vice President.
I'm going to nominate Jim Phillips for Vice President.
Hear a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Jim. You're welcome. It feels like you're in a little box here up on the stand. That's good. Okay. And I was the secretary, which is a pretty easy job now that we are recording everything. So do we have a nomination for secretary?
I'll nominate Todd Davis.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Congratulations, Todd. Of the election of officers 2019. Next item on the agenda is old business, and I see that there is none. New business would be the new officer and the chief.
Madam President and police commissioners, as we're all aware, we've been in a hiring process, and today at 11 o'clock we had an interview with an applicant, Derek Woodkey, and I sent each of you an email with that information and provided a hard copy to you for this meeting. And I want to let you know that Derek has successfully completed the written test, physical agility test, background investigation, and chief's oral interview required to be considered for employment as a police officer with the Danville Metropolitan Police Department. Derek Woodkey is a 2007 graduate of Danville High School. He earned an associate's degree from Ivy Tech Community College. He has served the Hendricks County Sheriff's Department for 6.5 years as an officer for the Hendricks County Jail and the Hendricks County Courthouse. Derek is a U.S. Navy veteran serving our country from 2008 through 2012, and he resides with his wife and 2-year-old son here in Danville. I recommend that the Board of Police Commissioners offer Derek Woodkey a conditional offer of employment as a police officer full-time with the Danville Metropolitan Police Department. Derek Woodkey will be required to successfully complete the physical testing and psychological testing mandated by the Public Employee Retirement Fund, or PERF, before being employed with the Danville Metropolitan Police Department. You'll also see a letter here. One of the members of the interview committee is the principal at the middle school here in Danville, Marcia Webster. After the interview, she sent me her remarks via email that I provided for you. But it just says on here that I'll read it for public knowledge here. Derek Woodkey demonstrated a strong desire and natural disposition to fill the position of SRO. He showed the ability to build positive relationships with staff and students and clearly communicated he has a heart for serving the Danville community and its schools. And when she talked about the SRO, the interview was kind of split up in a couple different parts, and we asked police questions and organizational, typical law enforcement questions, and then we had the last section of that is where the principal really got into some SRO and some scenarios within the school where she could get a feel for the candidate. So that's why she refers to him as an SRO, and it's really a police officer position within the department that we hope to assign as the SRO for 2019-2020 school year, beginning obviously next year when school starts. If you go through there, again, everything just confirms that Derek's employment, that he was at the Hendricks County Sheriff's Department. It has a certificate from Ivy Tech, as well as his copy of his diploma from Danville High School. I know one of the things that I had looked at within his application was that he currently, along with his wife, serves as a member of the staff at Northview Christian Church for their daycare. They go in there after they get off of work in the evenings, and the supervisor there, coordinator of the daycare, had a lot of good things to say about Derek and his wife. I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have about this recommendation, but I'd highly recommend that we offer him a conditional offer, and he's anxious for the outcome.
You said, you clarify or confirm that this is a hire as a police officer. It's not specifically an SRO position.
Correct.
Is he, where does that stand with him? Is he a presumed person, or is there more that needs to go into that before he would?
He understands the responsibilities of both sides of the coin for the hire. As I said, I have to hire a police officer who has interest and the capabilities of being a school resource officer. It's not the easiest or the most glamorous position on the department. When we talked meaning the assistant chief and I talked with each of the members of the department on what their goals or aspirations within the department, what kind of training they may want, not one person listed that they wanted to be a school resource officer. Going through the applications and doing oral interviews over the phone with some potential candidates, one of the questions that was asked to each one of them is, you've now been hired, you went through all your training, you're ready to have to be given an assignment. What would be your preference to work on this department? There are 6 positions below the rank of chief. We went through each one of those positions, explained them all to them. What do you want to do the first 5 years here on the department? And even broke it down to what do you want to do year 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And there were, I believe, counting Derek, 3 people who were interested. I take that back, 4 people who were interested in school resource. One of them withdrew their application, and another one was eliminated because of some issues in their background. Actually, 2 of them were, and then Derek. So they understand that they could be assigned to the school for 2 years. If they like that kind of a position, they would have the opportunity to stay longer as long as the school is comfortable with them. And I know even it's at times the school haven't been comfortable with people that has been there. And within the contract with the school for the funding for this position, where they pay 50% of all the benefits and salary and so forth, it says that they have a right to be involved in the interview process as well as selection process. So I want to make sure before I move forward with a recommendation to the Police Commission that the principal representing the school corporation was comfortable with Derek, and she is very much so.
What's the position? Filling that position.
Yeah, she was originally offered a conditional offer and then withdrew her application.
Motion for a conditional offer of employment for Derek Woodkey.
I move that we offer Derek a appointment with the Metropolitan Police Department.
Is there a second? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed?
Okay, thank you very much. I will contact Derek tonight after this meeting and advise him, and we will get the process started for him to have a physical test as well as the psychological test.
Is,
It has a social security number on it. It has, yeah. In other matters, as you're aware, we hired a parking enforcement officer not long ago. He has completed his training. He's on the street and enforcing the parking enforcement set forth by our town council.
He marked one of John's tires this week. He's doing a good job.
Pardon?
He marked one of John's tires this week. He's doing a good job.
I've got a parking ticket today.
Oh, my gosh,
Yeah,
you did? Oh, well.
You got one? You got
He's
one?
out there.
Oh. So he's out there.
Yeah, he's out there. He's busy.
No, I wasn't supposed to park there longer than 2 hours.
Well, in case you would hear from I want to say a complainant, I got a phone call today since you guys have brought up your issues for the parking enforcement side, and the lady was upset because there wasn't a limited parking sign at each individual parking space. That she did not assume that it meant the whole square or the sides of the streets because there wasn't one in the space that she parked at. So if you hear that, I'm going to advise the town council the same. I talked to her for probably 10, 12 minutes, and I heard the same story maybe 15 times, so just as a heads up. But Brandon is out there. We've assigned him to he's driving a black 2011 Chevy Caprice. It's all black. We've removed the markings on it. It has, I ordered through Kiger's down here, a couple parking enforcement magnet signs for both front doors, as well as a couple smaller ones for the backside on the trunk, to where it's definitely visible that it's a parking enforcement. I don't want anybody thinking that it is a police vehicle and he is an unarmed civilian employee. During the month of December, as we have each year that I've been here, Corporal Matt Oliphant organized Operation Christmas, or which some of us refer to Shop with a Cop. Officers were assigned to shop with a child, assisting them with selecting Christmas gifts for themselves. This year, Matt was able to collect enough donations that the children were also able to shop for their parents as well. And that's the first time that we've done that. And that kind of put a pretty interesting twist on it. We shopped with 9 children, encompassed within two families. The officers who participated that night were Butler, Lean, Hilton, Travis Wilson, Allison Cunningham, Southern, Oliphant, and myself, along with Dee Oliphant was there helping us and had a big part of the organization part of it, as well as Grace Leisman, a friend of Jerry Cunningham's. During the month of December, I worked with Danville High School Danville High School teacher and coach Kaylee May to finalize internships for 2 high school students that'll be serving as interns here for the department. One of the interns began his internship today, and the other one will start tomorrow. This will run through the end of the school year. We will also be hosting an intern from IUPUI who lives in the community who is going to go out into law enforcement, public safety upon graduation. Any question on any of that information?
How much time do the interns spend? Do they come in
They
every
will
day, or
spend, we will have 2, and 1 week, one will be here Tuesday, Thursday, and the other one will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Then they'll just rotate. We originally I committed to 1, and then somebody, a sponsor dropped out, and she called me kind of in a panic, and I said, we'll make it work. So that's what we're doing. The intern for IUPI will be 240 hours, and we do not know her schedule yet.
Thank you.
If I could take your attention over to now the stat sheet.
Hey, real quick, I
Yeah.
do want to, but I do want to thank the Oliphants for
That really is a
understood it was
time-consuming.
good success, and that's pretty cool that kids could. So,
We try to make it not any more high profile than we have to, just to save any potential embarrassment to a family or students. I know this year, didn't we have maybe a senior or a junior that was involved in one of the families? So we don't, even though some of the guys are in uniform, we try not to get any more publicity out of it than needs be for the privacy of the families involved. Anybody else? Okay, going to your stat sheet. On the stat sheet that starts with, on the side says abandoned vehicle. If you could go down about 2/3 of the way, it says follow-up investigations. These would be follow-up criminal investigations. For the month of December, we only had 3. For the year of 2018, we had 122 follow-up investigations. In 2017, we had 202, which, obviously doing the math, that's 80 less in 2018 than we had in 2017. And you'll see with other stats I give you, we're not taking as many reports, we're not taking as many runs as well. So that is really the only thing on that side of the page for a stat.
could you
Sure.
expand on that a little bit? What do you attribute that to? I know, we've had concentrated patrols that have led to more OWIs and that type of things, and drug-related arrests. Is that part of what's reducing runs?
No, I don't. No, it's not reducing runs. It really should increase on that. But as far as the follow-up investigations, that would be where an officer went to somebody's house and took a report of a theft or some type of a crime, and there were either no real leads on it, no suspects. Maybe it was could have been solved by the officer on the scene.
So the reduction from 202 to 122, that doesn't mean nobody went to the house. It means there was no follow-up to report?
Right. And you'll see where the reduction in our calls for 2018 are down from 2017, which I think contributes to this fact of less follow-up investigations. Again, that's criminal. Turn on the other side of the page. If you go to traffic stops, it's about 2/3, 3/4 of the way down. You'll see in December, 347 traffic stops. That's a pretty good month, especially, December wasn't a bad weathered month, but that's still pretty good because we have a lot of vacation time and people off. But for the year, we had 4,012 traffic stops, which was 164 less than what we had in 2017. Some of that's attributed to the fact that we really lost an officer, I'm going to say, for 75% of a year in the combination with Anthony Southern had an injury and was off about 6 months, and then had another officer that took FMLA for 3 months. So if you take that 9 months out of a work year, that should do more than make up for the 164 differences in the traffic stops. If you go down to total runs, you'll see for 2018 we had 8,863 as compared to 9,937 in 2017. So what that's telling you in the total runs, that also includes traffic stops. So if you take your total runs minus your traffic stops, it comes up with a number. If you just take these two numbers here, that's 1,074 less runs in 2018 than we had in 2017. It actually equates, if you take away the traffic stops from each one of the years, it actually equates to like a minus 910 total runs. And those are runs that are either dispatched to our officers or self-initiated stops or something they've observed while patrolling. Which, if you figure it out, and I did some research there in the office, our officers, if you take 11 1/4 officers, we have 12 on the street, but I'm taking 3/4 of a year away because of those guys being out and not having an opportunity to work to where it's a little more of an accurate count. Our officers are taking 80 less calls in 2018 than they did in 2017 per person. And again, it's just because calls are down. And that figures out to about 2.2 calls per 12-hour shift. Our reports, again, if your runs are going to be down, your reports are going to be down. We had 844 in 2018 compared to 911 in 2017. That's 67 less reports. We made 434 criminal arrests. That's only 4 off from 2017. And again, if we would have had more runs and the run volume would have been the same as last year, that would have been escalated above what we were able to arrest last year. Our operating while intoxicated arrests were up by 10. We had 64 OWI arrests in 2018 in comparison to 54 in 2017. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have on any of these stats, or later on if you want to call me or get together.
Questions? No?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. Okay. Any questions or comments from the board or from the audience? Okay, well, thank you all. I'm honored to serve as your president this year. Thank you very much for your vote of confidence. I appreciate it. And do I have a motion to adjourn? Second? Don't have the gavel, but this meeting is adjourned.